Good afternoon. It's midday on the 4th of May, Monday, 4th of May, and I'm especially delighted to have a panel here because it's a bank holiday. But as writers, do we know what bank holidays and weekends are, and evenings and mornings? And I know some of us, I'm an early bird, so I'm up early, although I did have a lie-in this morning. Thank you, cats, because I fed them at 5 o'clock instead of 7. So that was good. But I know some of us are night owls, so this may be fairly early for some of us. So we were just chatting ahead of time about the festival which took place a week ago yesterday, which was wonderful. So we're plans are in progress for October with some tweaks in that's come up from April, which was wonderful. So I'm delighted to be joined by Andy, David, Ella, first time, and Jack back again from Europe. And the rest of us are here in the UK. And I know we have Melissa in the chat from America. So I'm delighted that we're now represented by almost all. So we shall get cracking. We're talking about covers. So I have my books here. I can talk about mine, and covers, illustrations, and formatting. So, Andy, have you got your book? I should have said ahead of time. Do you have your book here?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Tell us about
Yeah.
your book. So,
Okay.
who did you get to design your book, and what kind of brief did you give them? So we'll start with that for now.
Okay. Well, I principally designed what I wanted and then got a professional to do it. So it was more than a brief. And I got a photograph of NASA, the character in the book, stylized. I'll just show you. Can you see him just here?
Yes.
So that really is a picture of him, but he's been stylized. And here is the Umayyad Mosque, which is like the equivalent of Big Ben for Damascus.
Okay.
And the idea is that he's going from a bright past into a very shadowy, uncertain future.
Very good. Very good.
Okay. And then the names, and the thing is, my name is so small there because I sort of felt a bit embarrassed about being a writer.
Right. Because you
So,
kind of not hoodwinked. That's not fair. But you were. I mean, you've said in panels before that you
yeah,
weren't. You'd never planned to write a book. Certainly not write a
yeah,
book about somebody else.
yeah.
So who did your cover? How did you find your
It was
design?
done by the KDP Publishing.
Okay.
Yeah, the who I feel I've just been scammed by because they've just disappeared.
Ah,
But
okay. So
um, but
nothing actually to do with Amazon. They were a
no,
separate
no,
company.
it's a shadowy company. Okay, but
Oh.
having said that, they followed the brief quite well. I did A-level art and art history about 100 years ago, so I actually do some drawing and painting now. So I feel that I've got a fairly good eye for artworks, and I wanted it to be a dark, heavy cover because of what's inside. I mean,
Yeah.
the story doesn't come out as bright, shiny colors and gaiety at all.
Hmm.
So that's why I chose the black and the sepia muted colors.
Mm.
Um,
And the gold is very sort of representative of the area of the
yes,
world, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
You know, that's really good.
So
Yes.
that's it. And the cover, the writing on the side and the back is in white, and it's all nice and clear.
Yes.
And the company said that it'd be good to have a picture. There's the picture of both of us together.
Mm.
That was when we won a tennis tournament.
Okay. So presumably you have the right just to produce it as for the cover, just
Yes,
produce it as an ebook and a paperback.
yeah, yes,
And then you'll just do, because I know you're working on another book,
yeah,
so then you will do the next one yourself.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And in fact, NASA's family home in Damascus is rubble, and he's going to take some pictures of that rubble
Right.
as the background for the next book.
Okay.
So it's, again, it really is sort of true to the actual story of him going back to his home
Mm,
and building from that.
yeah. Now, normally I go in alphabetical order, but because David has more books than W.H. Smith or T.G. James as it is now, I'm going to go with Jack because Jack writes crime and romantasy now. So obviously two very different styles of covers. Have you
Yeah.
got examples of each?
I have my thrillers here. I've actually lent the fantasy to someone. Actually, I have. Hang on, sorry.
Yep. Okay.
Well, that gives me an opportunity to say harumph.
I have an old I have an old version. So I don't write
Okay.
crime, but I write thrillers.
Sorry. Yeah. No.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Crime to me is more police procedural
Yes.
type thing, and I don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But so I wanted I also find crime, police procedural, they're very dark colors. They're normally very dark covers, and I'm not so interested in that. I
Mm.
wanted something that appealed to me, something I found attractive. So I went, I don't know,
Or
can you see
switch
that?
your background off from Blair because we can't see it.
I need to switch
Put
the
it right in front of your
There's a
face.
little
Ah,
pocket. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
oh.
Okay.
So I went for something quite colorful. I wanted something colorful.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
photo on the back, I think, is fairly easy. I did not go with a photo. I didn't want a photo of me on the back, and I don't think it personally, I didn't think it was
I don't
important.
have mine.
Then
Yeah.
this is a sequel, and again, nice warm colors. I think it just makes the book attractive. It makes you want to pick it up more.
Yeah. I love the
Um,
fact that you've got your name at the top because we've had this discussion before. All my names are at the bottom because I'm a nobody. So it's lovely, and I don't want to use optimistic sounds pessimistic. The fact that you've gone for it, you've put your name at the top, as well-known authors' books are,
yes.
so that when Jack Chandler has another book out, everybody's going to rush and buy it because they don't care what it's about. It's a Jack Chandler book.
It would be nice, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Then this
But
one is
it is typical of the genre, how you've gone with it.
Yeah.
It's
I
typical of the
think
genre.
so, but it's
Yeah.
not crime. It's definitely not crime. It's definitely more thriller.
Yeah.
And I got the ideas actually from Robert Crace. I do like his covers. And again, they are very colourful covers.
Yeah.
And in a way similar to mine. You've got the brooding guy on the front cover, and
Yes.
but you've got colours in the background. And this appeals to me basically. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, so I went for something that made me happy.
Yeah.
This
Well,
one,
Robert Harris, although he's a thriller, and I think it's Robert Harris, I'm not thinking Thomas Harris. And he has colour. He's got flags, if I'm not thinking of the right person. And so although he's got dark and brooding, there are splashes of colour in it.
yeah, I just wanted color basically.
Yeah.
And then for Isu is my romantic fantasy. It's all sort of medieval, historical.
Okay.
So
Oh,
with
yeah.
this one, I've gone this is an old version. It now says Jack Chandler on the bottom, and the eyes I've moved much lower. So the
Right.
eyes are about here, right overlooking the castle, and the colors are again a bit brighter.
Okay.
So those are the changes that I made, which I don't actually have at the moment here.
Okay.
But you can just about see the eyes here and here.
Yeah.
That's a good cover, but it does look like things need to be moved about a little bit.
Yeah.
They're fighting each other, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. This is I couldn't see it, and I showed it to somebody who actually did design as his major, and he was the one who said it to me. He said, the problem is you've got the cover up here, then you've got the words, then you've got, I had a tagline as well, and then you've got more cover, and then you've got the author.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put my finger on it, and he just looked at it and he just knew what was wrong with it. And that was brilliant.
Yeah. Because to me, as a non-expert for romantasy and historical, that does look like to me, it looks like a historical, perhaps fantasy book. Romantasy to me, I think youngish girl on the cover, maybe a boy on there,
Yes.
from the romance aspect. And I think book covers, it depends which aspect, because every book is multi-genre. James Bond is a thriller, but there are crime elements. There are very shallow romance elements to it. In any book, there are elements to it.
Yeah. This one, I'm not sure about this cover anymore. I really like the cover. I really like the moody eyes overlooking the castle. It does speak to the darkness. I've changed also the fonts, so you've got more of a romantic font for the and the of.
Right.
So I've made those changes, but when I see it now amongst other books in the genre, they either have the bare-chested man on the cover, or they have some sort of symbology, so a sword or hilt at least, or it's not normally that representative of what's in the book. It's just basically a symbol with lots of swirls around the outside.
Right. And
so it might be that this is outdated and I should change it.
The trouble is, because I look at books in my genres and I don't necessarily fit my genres, but I like my covers.
Yes.
And I've heard umpteen times you should change your covers every couple of years to fit the market and so on and so forth. But I love no, exactly. I love my covers.
Yeah.
So
this just appeals to me. It's just
yes, no, exactly. And if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, this is it. This one is working, but the icy one isn't. I've got lots of people clicking to see it,
yes,
but not actually clicking on it because when they've got a load of covers in front of them, they don't click on mine.
No.
So this is what makes me think the cover is wrong, and I may have to change it.
I mean, it is, as independent authors, we can choose our own covers. We're in charge of that.
Yeah.
That's a two-edged sword, really. But, if you go to a convention and you talk to traditionally published authors, more or less all of them complain about their covers, saying they don't like it.
Really?
So at least we've got covers that...
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's our fault if it's not very good.
Yeah, well, exactly. I love my cover.
Some time ago on Facebook, I think it was, maybe misquoting, I think it was Jojo Moyes, who said that she'd seen the cover for her French edition, and I think it had, I don't know whether it was a dog, but it had something fairly major like a dog on the cover. And she said readers who love dogs are going to be disappointed because there's no dog in the book. There's no mention of a dog in the book.
That was something I was really when I've done my own due to budget constraints and because the work is sort of more channeled through me as opposed to me coming up with the ideas. But it was a case of I have tried a couple of designs and had them under consideration, but I always felt that having a couple on the cover, being as the first book, this top one up here is called Alone, and both characters are separate. They don't even know each other at the start. I thought, why would you do that? Because that's not representative of what the book is about.
Yeah.
And it's a series, so obviously it's something that takes time. It's a slow burn romance. So what I did instead of having a person was the single cup, the coffee cup, which it's not just representative of the fact that the main male character is an absolute caffeine addict and uses it to keep his brain on track, but it's also the fact it's to show that they are both alone at the start of the story. And in the tarot, it's something that comes up as one of the cards in a reading that she does, that my main character Laurie does for Jamie, the main guy. And then the Ace of Cups is very, very much a case of it's the start of a new emotional cycle, and it can be indicative of a surprise. And goodness knows she wasn't expecting it. I mean, we won't go into the fact that she's not even on the same page as him yet, but he falls in the first book, and that's very clear. But I wanted it to be that way, and this behind me is the image that I took of Littlehampton, or from Littlehampton East Beach, which is where the story is set.
Right.
So I wanted it to underpin the covers, And that's great. I mean, it's gorgeous. I love my covers to bits, but they are not doing what I would like them to. It's difficult enough as an indie author amongst God knows how many millions of books on Amazon. And
Yeah.
I think my symbolism is too subtle for what the actual books is about. So I need to kick its ass.
I had the same problem, actually, in that I had a set of covers for my Do and Do Club adventures, which people who'd read the book loved, but they loved them after they'd read the book.
Yeah.
They weren't attracting new readers.
Yeah.
So I've gone for another set of covers, which I think attract people a lot more, new readers.
Yeah.
But I do have some diehard fans who go, "Oh, I prefer the old covers."
Yeah.
I'm actually keeping these covers on the paperbacks, but it's only the ebooks that I'm changing the covers of because of how I've got everything designed with all the text and everything. And paperback covers are a little bit hard.
The thing is,
this is a simple single image, so. And also the water pixel element of the covers is because the woman that Laurie predicts for Jamie is actually, she paints, apparently, according to the reading. So I wanted that to be part of it as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few elements to it, but as I said, I think it's too subtle. So I'm in the process of having a rejig to see if I can make it more genre obvious.
Having had that experience, I think you're right. Yeah.
But the thing with your covers, Ella, is that Tarot for Two does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
So you're halfway there with your title, and then yes, if you could have maybe a woman walking away, or because that's tricky, isn't it?
It's in progress.
yes. And what software? I'll ask you, Ella, and then we'll go back to Jack, and then on to David.
Yeah.
What software do you use, Ella, for your?
Which ones don't I use? Okay, I don't use. All of mine are free, so I use GIMP for layers and for blending, and actually to put the writing on and get everything completely in position, I do it on Canva, and I build it up as layers.
Okay.
And the water pixel is actually a filter from within GIMP, and you can change the size of the pixels that it changes it. That you can adjust the size of the pixels, so you can either have it so it's more splodgy, technical term, or less, depending on the size of what's called the super pixel inside GIMP. And I really fell in love with that effect. And I thought, okay, I'm using that, so I'm keeping that. I'm keeping the text the way it is, but I am changing the background. And the thing with the two cups, the two cups on apart is because they do know each other at that point, but they are not together. So the cups are deliberately apart. And I'm keeping that across all the books of the series. The cups are actually showing what the couple are doing.
Okay. How lovely.
Because I thought that was cute. And the actual when they actually get together, there are spoons on the cups as well, and they're actually touching like they're holding hands, which I thought was just too cute.
And you add the cups in afterwards.
Yes, the cups are actually also have the water pixel filter on them, but they're from real IKEA cups that I took photos of on the beach at the time. So again, I don't want AI sort of doing what it thinks I want, because I can see it here. All I've got to do is, what I find is I gave both Adobe Firefly and ChatGPT a very long prompt to show me what it would come up with, and I liked some of it, didn't like the others of it. But what I did was, having discovered something I liked, I then uploaded it to ChatGPT and said, okay, how do I recreate this in GIMP? Because I wanted to very much keep control of it. And obviously, although it's a computer program, it can see things. It can't see them the way human eyes do. So I wanted to make sure that it didn't look just like I'd taken it from, for example, ChatGPT and slapped my text over the top, because that's just not me, not what the book's all about.
I must jump in here because a couple of points. I was on a book cover panel at EasterCon, the science fiction convention, only a few weeks ago, and AI turned up in that panel, and the reaction against it from the audience was visceral. It was so strong. It was so negative. It shut that conversation down almost instantly. I mean, I'm against the use of AI in creative things, but that reaction made me go, oh, you know, it was so strong.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I've seen a lot of that in the KDP Facebook group, the KDP for beginners. Anyone says, "Oh, AI's done my cover," and it's bloody.
Yes, it is. But
I didn't want that.
But you did what I would suggest people can do, is that if you're trying to talk to an artist, you can knock up some covers in AI very quickly and then say to the human artist, look, I want that, but not with that. And I want this other thing from here put across to there. Yeah. So that's what you did. You effectively got the AI to give you advice on how to do it yourself as a human being.
Yes.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I won't comment on how long it takes me to do anything like that, but I am doing it. And equally for me, it's budget constraints. I do not have a budget to give those ideas to somebody else and ask them to do it for me. I have to do it myself. Otherwise it doesn't get done.
Can I just say something? Can I just say something
sure.
here?
Of course.
The budget thing, obviously I didn't really want to spend any more than I had to on the book. But I really felt that I didn't understand the parameters of what I needed to do. And that's why I paid out for somebody to sort of finalize and do things for me. And while it was done for me, I now sort of understand that and actually feel it was almost like an education going through it. So the fact that you've actually managed that all yourself, I really do take my hat off to you. I just didn't want to sort of put my head above the parapet with something that was sort of less than appropriate.
Yeah, thank you. And
we should all help. We should all help one another. So you know, you've got a certain set of skills, but you're lacking other skills. So go to somebody who's got those skills to do it for you. So I think hiring an artist is. I mean, I've done a whole bunch of covers. Some I've done myself, and some I've got artists in to do for me. It depends on the book or the genre, I think. You know, there's a certain type of cover. I've done covers for other people professionally, but only certain type of covers I can do. And I'm not very good at other ones.
Could you be critical about mine? Because nobody's ever said anything about the cover to me.
Hold it up.
We see it.
Take it back slightly so you can see all of it. Right. The title does not pop at all.
No. You can't see the text.
Yeah, I would probably not go completely white with it, but I would bring it up and give it a bit of
cream. Sort of a creamy colour maybe. So it shows on both.
Needs to be bigger.
You could pick the. I can't point at. You could pick that behind him. Is there something? Because you've got the white of his lapel. Yeah. And then over his shoulder, there's something you could pick that colour out.
It's part of the building, and I think the
sunshine. So use that colour for the text.
Yeah.
Because at the moment,
you could also outline it in something. So do the letter in cream, and then maybe outline it in black or.
Yeah, it needs a bit of a shape to it.
I would increase the size of your name.
Yes,
I have no idea.
The text on this has got an ever so slight shadow effect to it, so it looks like 3D.
Yeah, I can see.
Which you can do in Canva. I do all of
them. Yeah, you can. I've got extra around the hurricane part, which is the sort of the script second line on mine. There's an extra thickness around it to make it show up better, because otherwise it's just not. But you can do that in a different colour. It doesn't have to match the actual colour of the lettering itself, and you can make it thinner or thicker.
You can do.
I actually, sort of psychologically think this is part of my embarrassment of getting a book out there, that I didn't really want it to sort of be sort of in your face.
I understand that embarrassment. I mean, it's an amazing feat to finish a book.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge portion of the population who say that they want to write a book, and of that population, it's like 3% actually start it, and is 0.1% actually finish it, edit it, then package it together, then put it out there. You should be incredibly really proud of what you've done.
And
I
you should
know,
not.
I've just found it really difficult to sort of own the achievement. And while it's not my ideas, it was NASA who wanted to do it, and he was the one who sort of drove it because he really wanted his story told. I mean, I was the sort of the willing conduit to get it out there
I love
and
that word.
give the Western perspective on the story.
We should stop being so English. With
Um,
apologies to Melissa, when you're marketing your work, you must pretend to be an American.
Okay, yeah,
I
no,
can't do that.
I realize that having lived sort of in all over the place, but I you know I it's taken me months to sort of own the title of being a writer, and yet I blog, and I was just showing somebody the stats for my blog this morning. I'm read across the whole world on 6 continents, not sort of millions of people, but there's
Wow.
somebody from
That's fab.
6 different continents reading my blog every week.
Mm. See,
So
there's
But
nothing.
again, that's incredibly, you should be incredibly proud of that. I mean, the other thing is that there's those of us who actually write the book, edit it, package it, get it out there, and then fail miserably on the marketing side of things.
Me.
Everybody.
You're, no, you're doing
Yeah,
it. You're
all of
getting it
us.
out there. You should be
Yeah,
so proud of this.
yeah.
yeah,
And there's
yeah.
Make your name bigger, splash it across the front.
Thank you. Yeah,
We,
and
we
yeah.
there's
all we all
Got
have
it,
been
flaunt
through.
it.
We've all been through this imposter syndrome thing. We know
Yes,
exactly where you're coming from, and
yes,
it doesn't go away.
no.
Books and books and books later, you can be embarrassed about it.
Got a lot to look forward to then.
It's how you deal with it, though. That's the important thing. It's you
I
don't
know.
let it stop you.
No.
No,
That's something you mustn't do. You can't hold up your authorial journey and compare it to somebody else's, because you're a completely different person.
Yeah.
And your journey is completely unique to yourself.
yeah,
Even if you're writing in the same genre as someone else, and your underlying premise is similar, the way you approach things because of your own life experience is going to be so very different. I
yeah,
mean, mine mine is very much a case of I started the story to help myself with a very painful emotional experience I had at work. But as a result of it, I realised fairly quickly that there was something else going on. But the actual spiritual side of things behind it means that when Laurie does a tarot reading in the books, I actually do the reading at the time because that's part of who I am. So somebody that doesn't have those skills wouldn't be able to write it the same way as I do. So we all have to bring to our own table what we've got that's unique about us because it's part of our USP.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
bring it.
there's nothing, Andy, about that book that should cause any embarrassment.
No.
It's a fantastic book, and the cover is fantastic as it is, just with some tweaks.
It does have that. The middle of it should pop in terms of colour, which
the middle should
has.
pop. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Speaking
okay.
of, this is the original book I did. There's a woman in America called Julie Duffy. She's English but based in America, and every May she puts a prompt up every day, and I did 2011, 2012, 2013, and this was the original one. And it's difficult with short stories because I have got the other ones. That's why I was scrabbling around the back. But very similar to yours, Ella, I just chose a picture I liked, and because I didn't, there was no particular theme running through the whole collection.
Yeah.
And the only way I could split, having done those and written other, I carried on going after 2013, and the only way I could split my short stories was by length. So I have flashes up there, and then this is short. So effectively, I've gone from this cover to that cover. And this is a portion of a larger picture. So that's the entire picture.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And again, the only thing that uniforms this book is the fact that these are 500 words and over. So I couldn't pick out anything and we just went with a picture. There are books underneath, so that there's a tree forming out of books.
Yeah.
And so it's really tricky, but you know your theme. And the fact that you've got the uniformity there, regardless of whether you're going to change the covers or not, you've got the uniformity. And that's the thing with having, if you're doing a series. So this is my dog detective. So Gwen is around 40. And then this is the first in the series. And I'm just going to do because the follow-ups are shorter. So they're between 15 and 20,000 words, novelettes. And so each ebook cover has a different version of this. So he's got popcorn in one of them, where it's Henry Goes to the Cinema, and then each one has a tagline under. They're all called Henry this, that, the other.
Yeah.
And so they do have to represent what they are on the cover. But you've also got to bear in mind that on an Amazon screen, where people have got so much choice, as Jack has found with her romantasy, is that they're literally the size of a large postage stamp.
Yeah.
So you've got to get across.
Yeah, it does help that I've got a massive monitor, so I can actually shrink it down and see what it's going to look like on somebody's home. So that's something that I found very useful.
Yeah.
The other thing is to see it in black and white. I always put it into my Photos app and edit it so that it's black and white to see how it stands out, because a lot of Kindles and whatever are still black and white.
Paperweights and things, yeah.
Yeah.
What's
that's a good idea to look at the contrast of the picture as well.
Yeah.
And Andy's book she was showing us, the title doesn't stand out at all, and that was very obvious in black and white, I think. And
your name would be totally invisible in a thumbnail. You wouldn't be able to see it at all.
Yeah.
I've put the cover of Isu in the chat. It wouldn't let me put an image in, so I had to put a link. I'm sorry about that.
Right.
But you can then see it properly as it currently is.
Okay.
And again, I appreciate any feedback anyone has on it. Okay. Because like I say, I don't know if it has to change. Could be it does.
Right. Let me have a look. What software do you use to create we'll move to David in a minute. What software do you use, Jack, for creating your covers?
Right. Well, I didn't. I hired someone to do the thrillers. This one was actually an image that I bought off one of these cheap places that do covers that are already finished.
Oh yeah.
And the image was so perfect for the story. Where Isu is the castle and there is a darkness hanging over it in the form of a person, that I just had to take that. And that's the only one that I bought that wasn't specifically designed for the cover, but it looks like it was. Right. You can see the colors are a bit sharper.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. I like the positioning of the eyes. It very much makes sense to me to have them so that the of is right between them that way.
Yeah. And like I say, you've got more of a romantic font involved.
Yeah.
You've also got the tagline now, bound by duty, doomed by love. But like I say, compared to when I've got the book, when I put the book on a book funnel promotion, for example, you get a whole page of romance books. And like I say, the majority of them are the bare-chested man, but you do get historical romance or romantic fantasy ones, and they tend to be more symbols than something like this. So it may be that it's out of date, but like I say, if you've got any feedback, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Mine's fairly quick. Sorry, David, to just butt in. I do that on occasion. The only thing that I would say, Jack, is that the title text stands out very nicely against the moody sky. I think personally that your name could do with having, I don't know, a little tiny black border or something to. It seems like it's not as far forward as the title text to me, but that's my perception. So
it has a shadow. It does have a shadow, but maybe the contrast isn't enough.
Perhaps the shadow needs to be a little darker or something. It's your book at the end of the day, but it just feels to me that text isn't quite as standout as the title. So your name doesn't stand out as much as the title, but it's an opinion.
Would you want it to? David, how do you feel about the the promotion of not quite the right word, of the title over a name. Do you in your books, do you concentrate on
the
the
title of the story versus the name of the author, do you mean?
Yeah.
In terms of importance.
I think
prominence. There we are. That's the word. Prominence.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think Jack Chandler name stands out really well, and it's that sort of genre, isn't it? The trick with covers is you have to have something that fits in with the genre of all the other covers and stands out. And it's that contradiction that's quite difficult.
Yeah.
When I've got my crime thrillers,
mine have gone too far the wrong way.
Right.
So here's my sort of crime police procedural, SF police procedurals.
Yeah.
So I think they, let's pull it down, stand out. I mean, it's got the pop, a professional art cover designer did this. It's got the pop in the middle. The title. Yeah. I'm a nervous writer, so obviously I put my name down at the bottom in small text.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to go for massive author title at the top. I don't know.
That won't work for me. The story's much more important than who writes it.
Yeah.
And I mean, but is it? You know, well, it depends how many books you're going to do. I mean, Stephen King's books nearly have to have Stephen King on them, and then a smallest detail of what the title is, and it's done, isn't it? Because the name sells it.
Yeah.
But you have to work at getting to that stage.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that, because I tend to read an author and then read all their books. So I find
if you like them, you will.
So I don't actually look for the title. I look for the person who's written it, because I like their style of writing. So I've probably gone completely the other way with me, because I didn't really probably feel I was sort of a worthy author or whatever. But you know, Jack Chandler, if I saw one Jack Chandler, I'd think, oh yeah, I'd like to read that. I'd probably go for all the others, you know, in succession afterwards. So I can see there's a real big pull for me to see the person's name above the title.
I think it is different though with non-fiction, because with non-fiction you're selling the story rather than, I mean, with non-fiction it's especially self-help, that kind of thing, or a sort of dry non-fiction where you're educating the reader on a particular topic. Then the name only needs to be there as I am qualified to write this. Whereas with yours, not belittling you at all, but it's all about Nasser and his story. Absolutely, your name should be bigger, especially because you're writing another one, and I know you want to write things of your own as well. So it's getting that into the mind of who you are, really.
I'm actually preparing myself for my weeks on the sofa with one leg. So I can write from dawn to dusk then. I'm having an operation on my Achilles tendon, so I'll be sofa bound for a long time.
Oh, well, good luck with it, and
good luck with that.
And use the opportunity to do some writing. Silver lining.
I have trouble prising my backside out of a chair. I'm pretty much in it from 6 a.m. till about 1 a.m. the following morning. If I have to go and cook dinner or something, it's like, no, leave me alone, I'm trying to work.
Well, I've now got, as of Thursday, every morning I've been doing my ideally 1,000 words. Sometimes I've gone over, sometimes not quite that much, but I'm planning a 60 book series.
60 book series.
Yes.
How thick are the books going to be?
I've started 4 of them. Each one, it's a whole village, and each character is going to, I've come to the conclusion, only a decade late, when I do WI talks, that pretty much the only book that they buy is this one, unless they're buying something for a present, or they particularly love dogs, because all my characters are too young. They're in their 40s. And so I need to write characters who are older. So I've got there are some younger characters, but all the main characters are between 60 and 100. Wow. Albert's coming up to his 100th birthday. And so I've developed this whole world set in a village called Wenham, which is an homage to a very good friend of mine, the late and great Jane Wenham Jones, so a romance writer. And so the village is Wenham. So I've created all these places and all these characters, and the local shop, and the local cemetery even. I know who's running the cemetery. And so I have this new world, and there will be crime. Some of them will be crime. So I've got a bad, some brothers, one of whom is the black sheep, and so on and so forth. So yes, I've been.
That sounds vaguely like that sounds vaguely like the plan I had for my cozy mysteries, but I didn't have the patience to design the whole village populated. I just wanted to get on and tell jokes.
Yeah.
So,
well, because Tim and I are away from next Monday for a week in Spain, all I want to do is write. So I'm building this world, and then I can write from each aspect. And each.
So you're going to Spain in order
Yes.
to spend your entire time in an English village.
That's very true. The thing is, the
Just
village.
as long as
Just don't shout at the waiters.
Well, where we're going, we've been before. We've been to the house before. We're staying in a friend's house, and it's at the top of Jack Chandler's mountain minus the castle. And it's one of these roads that once, whether you go up or down it, I sit as a passenger in the car, going like this, not looking at the sheer drop down, and holding on to the door as a truck comes towards us. And once we're up there, we're not coming down again. And so there's not a lot to do. It's these kind of, there's a corner shop, there's a shop that's a bit bigger, and 4 restaurants, and that's it.
On your comment about the names,
yes,
the villages and the ancient names, there's a place in Kent called Pluckley, and there's Preston Bissett, which is near Buckingham. And I often think that these would make really good sort of characters, like a flying ace, or a sort of a private eye, or, something from the 20s. And I've actually sort of thought about sort of weaving a story around sort of the names of villages, and people's characters for them. So
when I do ideas, one thing I do is get a map of, I think it's Devon and Dorset and all that. Cornwall are fantastic, weird and wonderful names. And so I have a portion of a map and say, right, create some character names from that. They're yes, English.
I just want to.
My name is, I married the wrong man, but I mean, my name Woolhead is very specific to this particular part of the country, and goes way back to sort of the 15th century,
right?
And related to the wool trade.
I was going to say, because they were often, like, Smiths were blacksmiths and so on. So a lot of surnames are derivatives of. Melissa said, I need to go and take my daughter out. We'll leave the meeting open, maybe still be on when we get back. You never know. We haven't even touched on David, well, so to speak. We haven't touched on David yet. So,
I've got 2 quick things to say.
Yes.
First one is going back to your cover, Andy. Sorry, I can't leave this alone.
That's right.
The other thing is I've noticed is that you've got quite a large gap at the bottom where nothing is happening.
Yes, there.
And so it really does lend the space to your name being bigger, and whatever the text is underneath it, I can't even see it.
Yeah.
But I think that there's no harm in doing that. I would do that. The other thing is nobody actually commented on the image that I have for ISU. And I don't know if there's any comment you can make if it would look better. And then David, of course.
I couldn't open your link. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I right clicked on it and pasted it in a Google thing. Jack, Andy's book, the name at the bottom is actually NASA's, who the book is about. And then the tiny thing you can't read is Andrea's name.
No.
You're kidding me.
No, it is. That's what Andrea said.
Grief.
Okay, no.
Your name should go all the way across the width, and should be the same width as the title.
And have NASA. So Andrea D Woolhead with NASA.
NASA sort of as a subtitle almost to your name.
Okay.
Definitely.
So he is your collaborator.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but he is the book, isn't he?
He is the
Really?
book.
Yes, but you are the writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
his story,
if you're
but you're the
doing
writer.
another one, you've got to have a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did for a long time. I had my name in that font. A very special. An artist did that for me and changed the letters and stuff like that. So I always used that until people said, "Look, that's not on genre." So for the sort of police procedurals, I was persuaded to go for something more simple. So what I was trying to say is you have to develop a brand, so we use the same font for your words if you're writing in the same genre.
Well, it's the sequel to the book. But as I said, I was very clear about what I wanted and the reasons that I wanted it. So it was as I wanted it, but I now know that I've actually sort of hidden behind it in sort of so
this is
many
why
ways.
we have to talk to other people, because we get too close to it. You know, you become obsessed with a particular detail on a cover that is actually quite irrelevant.
6 months ago, when I sort of came up with I came up with the concept of mine initially, sort of 12 months ago, before I went down to Littlehampton and did all the pictures. But when I was actually creating the first covers 6 months ago, I didn't know anybody else. My husband isn't interested in what I'm doing because it's not making money. So and I don't have a big social circle. I'm pretty much nobody. So I didn't actually have anyone then to talk to about it. The fact that I do now is just incredible for me, and it's really fantastic. And Jack, you said about the image, I absolutely love that castle. It is glorious. And because my brain is rather unusually wired, shall we say, I do have ADHD, probably other bits to go with it, but so for me it's like, oh, but Jack isn't centered on the castle, or the castle is not centered behind the name Jack. And that's me being, I like things done in a certain way. Mine are very much sort of fixed, so down the central line. And I just feel that because the castle is slightly off to the left, I don't know whether that draws me in more, or whether it's I'm not sure about that. So that's me personally.
You do have to ask the right number of people.
Yeah.
I've been rebranding my Cozy Mysteries for bringing out the second book, and the amount of advice I've had now has left me utterly confused.
So take mine with a pinch of salt, because I'm so new to this.
Because people can obsess about a little detail. And don't see the whole picture. Oh, that's a very nice metaphor, isn't it? But don't see the whole picture, and you need to sort of step away from it and go, yeah, does that work?
The only thing.
Let's see your covers, because we haven't actually. Let's see your covers, David, because we haven't actually done you yet.
Before we get, while David's getting his covers, the only thing that I noticed for me is the bound by duty, doomed by love. Yes, it's lovely having them. But it almost looked too squashed. Whether we could, certainly, if you do end up centralising the castle, whether you could have bound by duty, 3 lines, left hand side, doomed by love, right hand side.
Yeah.
I
can totally see that.
It does need to be, because I was thinking, well, could you have bound by duty and then a space, doomed by love? But I like the fact that it's all on one, that it's together, because it would look odd if you had bound by duty, doomed by love. But if you had them 1, 2, 3 on the left hand side, 1, 2, 3 on the right hand side,
I like the idea of that.
It would feel less squashed.
Yeah, it would.
And also, you've got similar lengths for the words as well. I mean, bound and doomed are sort of 5 and 6 letters each, and the other two are perfect matches in terms of length. So I think that if you were to consider that, that's got some serious potential for
I like
looking absolutely gorgeous.
The colours are fantastic.
Yeah, I love the colours surrounding the castle. That aura of sort of sunset behind it and the darkness is coming in is really evocative to me.
Yeah. I have a thing against reviews on book covers, and it really annoys me when you open a book and you go to look at, especially a hardback, where you go, or the first page or something, where or the back cover in a paperback, where you expect there to be the blurb. You've got all these wonderful people saying how wonderful your book is. For me, I would have the utterly immersive smaller, because although it's great that you've got a 5-star, for me, I'm not a fan of, yes, I want to know that somebody else thinks your book is great, but it's almost, for me, it's somebody else thinks my book's great, therefore my book is great, and I would have it just, it doesn't have to be a lot smaller, but just a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But people tend to buy things that other people have bought.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I'm well aware of that. That's why I've got pretty much zero sales so far.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Mm.
Do any of you use illustration? David, start first. Do you use any? Do you use any illustrations? I threw Ella, but on the email. But the title for this was book covers, illustrations, and formatting. Thank you. So, David, tell us all about those three. Obviously, your book covers. And whether you use any illustrations. For mine, I have the Dog Detective. I have little paw prints at the end of each chapter rather than asterisks, and then or a magnifying glass at some of those. So I use little illustrations at the end of my chapters, and some people use illustrations throughout. Even
I do use illustrations.
Yeah.
This is A Dragon in the Title, which is my latest co-written.
Is this the 42-year one?
Oh, I love that.
This took us 42 years to write.
And ironically, was launched when it was done. You went to Carl's 42nd birthday party.
Oh yes,
with your book that took 42 years.
So one of the New Street authors, Carl, had his 42nd birthday. So we have a picture of the two of us, me holding a book, saying, "Well, this book and him are the same age."
Yeah.
I think actually this took us 43 years, but 42 is a funnier number.
Yeah.
But inside,
that's the
inside I put little illustrations. So that's an index card.
Right.
So one of the characters is a writer, well, a writer who's disappeared, and he uses the hero's journey and uses index cards. So I've got all these little index cards, some with a coffee stain on them, one with a paper clip.
Fabulous.
So just little pictures to if I can find any more. There was.
I thought it was a dragon in flight. I didn't realise it was a coffee stain.
Yeah, I couldn't see what it was.
Oh well, even better. Can I find the page? Oh, here we go. Here is a page where the character compares the two index cards, one with each cover. And the trouble I went to get those to fall on an odd and even page, so you can compare them directly, and the same height down the page.
Wow.
Yeah, so that chapter was rewritten in order to be able to pull that off. But so yes, little illustrations in books. I have done a lot of that in this book. This book sold because of my name. I sold stuff in a science fiction convention. And I went in one day with a box of books. I sat in the bar. I was going to take the box somewhere. And people started to come over and say, "Have you got another book out?" And I said, "Yes, it's Crossing the Bridge." And they said, "Oh, well, I'll buy it." And I went, "Oh, whoa, hold on. It's not science fiction, because this is a thriller set on a pub crawl." And they said, "I don't care. I'll just buy it." So it was my name that was selling the books. And I sold quite a lot quickly on the Friday evening and very little later on. So I sell to fans. I turn readers into fans. I'm not very good at turning strangers into readers. But in this one, I have all sorts of, I can't even find one now. I have lots of little tiny illustrations between the chapters. So that's a wedding invite.
And what software do you use for that?
I use Photoshop.
Okay. And Jack, what do you? Oh yes, you get somebody else.
I don't have any illustrations inside my book. I have a separator, which is from Black Dove Books, which is my publishing name. the separator is just a tiny little black dove. But I don't have any illustrations inside, but I use for formatting, I use
Um,
oh, the name's gone out of my head.
I stuck in a Wikipedia page.
That's cool.
Oh,
Um uh Atticus.
Yay! I use Atticus.
Yeah.
well, I bought Atticus probably about 3 or 4 months ago, with the idea of reformatting because all my back matter's just so archaic, and I've made the mistake of putting all my list of books at the front and at the back, and so I need to go back through all my entire only of the fiction, doesn't really matter for the non-fiction, and go back through and uniform it and put the newsletter link and so on, all the things you should be doing in your
Yeah,
back matter.
Yeah.
I wrote a computer program to help me update my back matter in all of my ebooks and all my paperbacks.
Why does that not surprise me?
Yes, it would suggest I do it often, but I don't.
Right.
At least with Atticus, we can have that as part of a master, in
Yeah.
terms of you just update it the once and then it will apply it to any book that you create subsequently, or you can apply it across the ones that it already has in there. But Jack, I don't know if you found it to be a problem or not. Were you able to export your book as a PDF and
Yeah.
find that the line spacing was perfectly okay? Because mine wasn't. And so I now export my text and then put the paperback together inside Affinity so that I do all the formatting for that in there.
I export as PDF and Word and EPUB, and the EPUB and the PDF come out perfectly. The Word, the formatting is gone, but I use that as a base thing. If ever I have to re-input it into Atticus, then that's what I would use.
Oh.
So I always keep those files updated.
So you use a Word document as a backup?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I tweak my EPUB around in Calibre to make sure, because I find that Atticus doesn't always put in the right quotation marks, so I have to make sure that I actually do the search. What I love about Atticus is if you've already got it split into chapters and you're searching for a specific punctuation mark, for example, straight quotes instead of curly quotes, you can do that, and it will actually show you down the side how many are in each chapter that you then can go and just nip them out. But again, when I export it as an EPUB, it doesn't always take through what it should. So then I edit it in Calibre to then make sure everything looks as I want it to.
I wrote a computer program for myself to do that.
Well, that's fine. But my husband has been a computer engineer most of his life.
But it sounds like I've been trying to write Atticus.
Yeah, I think you have.
I mean, it's not free software, but there's normally deals. I just be aware that because we're in the UK, you have to pay an extra 20% because of VAT. But I have found it to make things so much easier. And when I go through to cut out redundant words like just or that, again, it will pop up in a nice little red bubble against each chapter how many are in it, and then when you go into each chapter, it highlights them so you can see which ones to cut out to reduce the obsolescence. I love that.
Wouldn't you want to do that in Word? Because you write in Word, do you? Wouldn't you want to do that in Word initially, so the Word document is correct before you're then importing it? Or
yeah, but you can then export it from Atticus.
When I import stuff into Atticus, it loses all my formatting because it says, "Oh, well, we've tidied this up for you," and it's like, "Well, I didn't want you to because I had stuff in italics." So I've now got to go and put all that back in.
It has to have no formatting in order to be inputted into Atticus.
Yeah, it's an absolute gift.
But then you can just select change to curly quotes, and it does. And I've never had a problem with that. Okay,
but in terms of the redundant words, I would rather see how many there are, because I'm not trying to cut out all of them, because some of them are relevant, especially when it's in speech. It's only when it's in more of a narrative side of things that it can be chopped out. If my characters speak the way, like you say, just and that all the time, then I want to preserve that character voice. I don't want it to just blithely go through and cut them all out. That would just be completely wrong. And I can't do it in Word because it doesn't show me where they are. It can show me the total number of them, but
Yeah.
I prefer to have more control over where I take them out from.
It does if they're under 100. So
Yeah.
you have your find and replace on the left-hand side. If there are over 100, it doesn't show you. But if they're
Yeah,
under
Atticus says
100,
99 plus, and then I'm like, okay, well, there's something going on here. So what's
Right.
happened?
If it's under
Because
100, it shows you down the left-hand side, it shows you all of the sentences where they are. And
yeah,
you just click on the sentence, it takes you straight to it,
yeah.
and you can see where it is.
Because
And
my
then you
only,
can
Yeah,
just delete it on there.
I mean, I originally didn't write it in Word at all. I wrote it as a Google document. But
Right.
when there was the whole hoo-ha last November about Google having been training Gemini on manuscripts of authors in the US because they didn't have GDPR protection, and Google justified it by saying it's part of the conditions of use in terms of service and all that crap. At that point, I just went, right, you're not having access to any of my work anymore, and I had to put it all into a Word document.
Right.
But when
Yeah,
I did that, I hadn't realised initially that, of course, it was the large number of the 5 books that the series has become, and I just had it. It was into Google Docs, so it's now in.
unfortunately, I
5.
don't want to disappoint you, but
Well,
Microsoft is also nicking your stuff directly
well,
through the operating system. It's an absolute nightmare at the moment with this sort of thing.
Yeah, it is.
but is
I
that specific to Microsoft 365 though? Because I actually
Yeah,
run 20.
it's
See, I run
Windows.
Office 2019, so
It's
Yeah, I don't have
Windows 11.
365.
Windows 11 is monstrous in its privacy invasion.
right.
I
See,
mean,
my
I mean,
only,
Useful info, but for somebody
yeah.
with the way my brain's wired, it's just like,
Yeah.
where the hell do I stop? I cannot just do it on paper and pen.
no.
I mean, I'm considering going to Linux to get away from it, but that's quite an extreme step.
It is.
But Microsoft is taking your bank details, your medical file, anything on your computer they've got. It's absolutely horrifying.
Shocking,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Can't trust anyone these days.
No.
So I write in Scrivener, then I have to put it into Word to send it to my editor. That's the only other thing that I outsource is the editing and the covers. I put it into Word to send to my editor. She sends it back in a Word file with changes. So I edit it then in Word. And I do find that editing in Word is better. I only put it into Atticus when I'm ready to format.
Yeah.
I don't edit in Atticus because it is much slower.
Right. Because my only thought with Ella editing in Atticus is that then the Atticus version differs from the Word version. So if that then makes the Word version redundant.
Yes, but you can export as Word.
You can export it as a docx. So yes,
Right.
I do that after I'm
makes
happy
sense
with
then.
everything.
Yeah.
But
Like I say,
anyway.
you do lose the formatting.
Mine is sort of more of a complex process because it's in Word, then it goes into Pro Writing Aid to help me with the grammar side of things. Then it comes out into a separate Word document, and then from there into Atticus. So Atticus is actually the last formatting step, and then and that is literally only tiny punctuation edits.
Wow.
Yeah, it is for
and
me
as
as well.
I said, the redundancy thing because I can deal with it better with the way my brain works to actually see it in Atticus rather than I can with Word, where it just becomes a wall of text. So I find it's easier to do those last minute, the obsolescence and the punctuation stuff in Atticus. So it's just the way it works for me. It won't work like that for everyone. And then it comes out as the EPUB and the docx. So I have a master version.
Right.
One thing I find quite interesting is when I put it into Atticus, you can see a preview of what it looks like in print. And because print is expensive and it will affect the price of the book, if I'm just, say, up to 5 lines over, I then go through that chapter and try and get rid of those 5 lines. And
I make sure I don't have the little orphan bits, but I do that in Affinity, which is after the Atticus stage.
Okay,
so
no,
so the Affinity thing is is the paperback only version that I do. So I realign things that way, and then make sure I go into Calibre, edit the EPUB. So at that point, Atticus is like, okay, you've done your job. You sit out the way. Now we're into the serious last minute bits before it's in print or actually goes up to Amazon.
Well, I find it makes my writing a bit tighter because I'm trying to get rid of, say, 3 lines, 2 lines, 1 line, 5 lines or something.
Mm.
Well, it's
I
just a
think
way of
that's probably
reconsidering your
fine for a lot of
sentences.
people.
You're reconsidering your sentences, so that's a
Yes.
good thing, isn't it? It's a mechanism for forcing you
Just
to do another rewrite.
Yeah, it's just an edit, but it's an interesting way of doing it. And it saves, normally by the end of the book, I've saved about 10 or 12 pages.
Mm.
See, if I need to chop quite a bit in length of the book for a paperback, I highlight the whole thing and change the font size down half a point. So say, for instance, from 12 to 11.5. I mean, it's not that big for a paperback, but then I will physically type in, because there are some, Word has 10.5. So if you click on the little a to make your font all one size smaller, if it's on 11, say, it will go down to 10.5. But if I need it to go from 12, then I just click on the 12 and change it to 11.5.
No, I'm strict. It has to be 12. I won't go below 12. It just excludes too many people who then struggle to read it.
Yes.
One of the problems I went in Atticus was at spacing, the line spacing at 1.4. And when I actually took the first books down to the bookshop in Littlehampton, because I wanted to see whether she'd be happy to stock it being as the story's set there. She does, hurrah! But she actually looked through it and went, "Oh, this is actually really easy to read because of that extra spacing." And the other thing, because a large part of my target audience is of a similar brain wiring to myself, though, because Jamie, my main guy, doesn't know he's neurodivergent. But the other thing that I know as part of neurodivergence is a lot of people with dyslexia struggle with things. I cannot read something that's justified both sides because my brain just wanders off. So I've actually, back to the formatting thing, mine is ragged right.
Yeah, mine is.
On purpose.
I've done a version of a book with a dyslexic friendly font and a big font and lots of gaps and ragged right. That's absolutely enormous. It's downstairs. I can't show it to you, but it's absolutely colossal in size.
That's another thing actually with Atticus is there are certain fonts that legally you can't publish in, which probably nobody would ever pick up and you'd never get any problem with. But Atticus are very strict in only having the free to use fonts available in Atticus.
Yeah.
And I like that as well.
Yeah, it means you can't accidentally get slapped for it.
Yeah. Not that you would. I mean, nobody does. If you write in Times New Roman.
Yes, but who needs the extra hassle? We have this is difficult enough for us as it is without giving ourselves extra headaches.
Exactly.
I accidentally, when it was a different cover, I accidentally created a large, I wish I'd kept it now, a large font version because I didn't know what I was doing at the beginning. These are my first two. And people say, "Oh, it's lovely that it's big." I saw one in a charity shop not that long ago. I was tempted to buy it. It was only 50p. I was tempted to buy it, but and then I thought, no, let's hope that somebody else buys it and reads it.
I think it's a huge achievement to get into a charity shop. I'm not there yet.
I haven't got enough books out to there yet. I know where all of mine are.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled because I write to be read. Some writers, a core amount of writers write to make money. But I think we're soon realistic that I have given a book away because to get a lady back, it was a collection of short stories, one of the thin ones. I gave it to her because she said she doesn't read anymore because it's too daunting. So I opened a page and I said, "Could you read that?" And she said, "Oh yes." So I gave her a book. Right, David, the floor is yours for the pretty much. Unless anyone else has something to say, the floor is yours. So show us the rest of your.
I've forgotten the original question.
Your covers. We're going to have a look at your covers.
Covers,
yes, you've chipped in occasionally, but you haven't been the mainstay.
I did a set of covers, which were great for people who'd read the book. I said this before, but my editor kept saying, "For God's sake, put the sisters, put the main characters on the cover." So that was the rebranding. The girls on the cover, so that they were. And
how many genres do you write in? Can you show us one of each genre so we compare them?
Adventure series, which is the
Okay.
Daring Do Club. So that's three sisters, Ernestine, Georgina, and Charlotte. Set in the 1900s, well, slightly before the 1900s when it starts.
Okay.
Adventure stories. So that's the adventure stories.
I love the strip because it's book covers in series have to be uniformed.
Yeah.
So I love the strip at the top because that's obviously showing us the series, isn't it?
Yeah.
What does it say at the something?
That's my now. But for some reason, I always put my name hidden by something.
Oh yeah, I
So
love
we
it.
talked about-
Also, you can also see the branding because a very simple line goes all the way around it. That's also adding to the branding.
You've got to be careful of borders because if it's badly printed, it'll be squiffy.
Yeah.
Proof here. This is my cozy mystery book. This is the rebranding, and it's printed ever so slightly wrong. Can you see that? That's
it's slightly wonky.
Right. So as a result, the border has been cut off.
Oh no.
So that's badly printed, but also it's badly designed. I should bring that in, which I am doing.
Yeah. I love with the other ones how how it's been weaved. So your name appears is layered, how it's underneath the feet.
I mean, I've always done that. Oh gosh, that's not a very good example.
Well, if it's not a good example, it is a good example because
put an element over the top of my name in pretty much every single one.
Yeah.
That's the adventure stories. Political thriller comedy.
Okay, it doesn't scream comedy to me.
No,
it doesn't. Does it? No.
Thriller. To me, I look at that and I'm seeing Vikings with police tape and military font at the bottom. It's a bit confusing.
Is that proof copy? Is that proof copy?
No, that's a police tape.
Do not cross.
Oh, it is a police tape,
right?
Do
not cross. Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay.
So they're reenactors.
Right.
Okay, that makes more sense.
It does make more sense.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know that unless it actually says so on the blurb. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't guess that from the cover at all. It's like,
you wouldn't.
Hang on a minute. This is a mashup, isn't it?
I should perhaps look at that again. This is police procedural science fiction.
Okay.
There's 3 in this series. Where's the other one?
Yeah.
Somewhere
They do.
Yeah,
To me, they look sci-fi, bordering on fantasy.
I've got sensible fantasy. These are things I did myself.
Yeah,
very nice.
Do with something
They
else.
look.
Yeah, they're nice. I like the runes on those.
Yeah,
I like those ones.
I've also done it so that the spine has an element.
Oh,
When you get all 3 books, it'll fit across.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but I'm doing it myself. I knew it was going to be 3 stories, so I thought let's see what we can do.
Yeah,
that's one of the things with mine because I knew it was 5. There's 7 chakras in the energy system, and my books actually cover 5 of them. So that's the reason for choosing the pink and the blue. The pink is the heart chakra. The blue is the throat chakra for communication, because these are the central themes of that particular book. So that was the other reason for choosing the colours, which is one of the reasons why I love them so much, and I don't really want to have to change them, but equally I want people to read them, and that is more important.
It's a problem if you fall in love with your cover and it does need changing, isn't it?
I'm reconciled to the fact that I have to change them, and I have already started working on it, but I've now got trigger finger, so which is not helpful, which is all to do with the number of backspaces and things that I'm doing with my right hand because I'm left-handed. But
just to finish the set, that's my iPhone, which is it's about a phone basically, so that's why it looks like a phone with the icons and things.
So that's sort of an iRobot thing with a phone.
Yeah. Then I've got zombie comedy.
Oh, fab!
Very cool.
Gordon Dave of the Dead.
Yeah.
That's a floor in a local pub.
Okay.
I then put
excellent.
I'll be hand over it. Yeah. And finally, I've wrote a Japanese revenge thriller set in Samurai Japan.
Lovely.
Our artist did.
That is lovely.
The picture for me. Yeah, it is nice, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very good. Yeah.
Very nice.
And if I used a 12-point font, this would be absolutely enormous. It's just huge, isn't it?
That's the thing I'm stuck with this one is they are and the follow-up, they are around 100,000. So the font is people do the WI, they look at these and they go, Yeah, the font's too small. And if I made a large print version, which I should, but then it would be so expensive. But then I only sell this at £6 because I've got so many titles. What I tend to do is wait until I've got £300 worth of books to buy, and then they work out about £3.50, including, because it's the postage and packaging that costs the money. And so they end up, so I just have £3.50 in my head. So if I sell that one for £3.50, for six, I mean, and that one, which is tiny, it's 100 and something pages, 140 pages, then I'm making the same on each one. So I'm making technically more on that one than I am on that one. But it doesn't.
I find it incredible that, you know, this is my adventure series. And they
Yeah.
come out 100,000, 110,000, and then the SF tends to come out at 80,000. So
Yeah.
you can see the kind of difference when you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really know why, because I don't try to force it to any length. It just
No.
naturally comes out when the story's finished.
Do you have more of a world in your adventure, more description in your adventure, or not really?
This is a single protagonist, the inspector who's doing the crime investigation.
Right.
And these are three sisters. So there's three stories going on, if you like. So
Yeah.
That's why it's trying to get 3 times longer. But
I think historical and fantasy, they tend to be bigger anyway, because you're going to have more of the world that, you know, more description in a historical, because people want to know about workhouses.
I'm saying nothing about mine because they are not small books.
Right, right.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through the last one, and it's already sitting at 90,000. It's like, oh God.
Wow.
I think all three of mine are about 78, 79,000. It's not deliberate. They've just come out that way.
Yeah, my second one is the smallest, and I think that was 84.
Right.
And that's the smallest, the second one. But that was because of the natural story break. I had to break it where I did, and then it picks up straight away in the one that's coming out next month. But
I do have an exception to that. This is a fantasy series. And the first draft came out at 150,000.
Yeah.
And it was underdeveloped. I thought that's ludicrous. I can't bring that out as one volume. So I looked to see if it did split, and it did.
Yeah.
Nicely into three, so a trilogy.
Well, with my dog detectives, this is about 78, 80,000. So it's a standard length book. And the font's not too small, actually. It's pretty good. I think it's probably about 12. And but all the other ones, because that was setting up how they meet, and they're setting up the characters and so on and so forth, and then he gets kidnapped and dognapped and escapes and so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot in that one. But then the follow-ups are his adventures. So then there's just one. We know them already, and there is some backstory, because they all should be standalones. But they are sort of anywhere between 15 and 20,000, so they are tiny. So I'm going to have, and it's ongoing. So I'll probably have 4 or 5, probably 5 in each omnibus. So then the collection in paperback of each story going thereafter.
I would like to pose a question, because I believe, as part of the cover, I think the title is almost irrelevant. I find that you look at the cover and that will give you the clicks, and after that you look at the blurb, and if they like that, then they'll buy it. But I mean, for example, I started reading Harlan Coben, who I love. I absolutely adore, apart from his latest book, which I really struggled with, what he wrote with Reese Witherspoon. But none of his titles, I mean, to be honest, I don't much like his covers either, but none of his titles really scream to me. But he does his writing. I mean, what Andy was saying about, you go for an author. After a certain while, you go for the author. It's irrelevant. But I certainly didn't pick up any of his books, even at the beginning, based on the title. So
mostly one word. Mostly, a lot of them are one word, aren't they?
Not for Harlan Coben. They're normally 2. But it could be the Woods, right, for example. But you've got Drop Shot, you've got Deal Breaker,
right?
Mostly 2-word ones, but yeah, really irrelevant.
Right.
Well, they're quite generic thriller titles, those, aren't they? I think
It
thrillers
could
do
be the
tend to get
genre.
those. Yeah, I think it is the genre.
Okay.
But I mean, I remember having a discussion about covers, and someone said, "Do you need the title and the author name on the cover?" And people went, "Well, obviously you do." And you go, "No, no, you don't." On Amazon, you've got the picture grabs attention, and then there's text on this side which tells you who the author is and the title.
Right.
So you can't do it because KDP won't let you. But
Okay.
do you need the title of the author on the cover? It's one of those questions that makes you go, oh, I mean, the answer is clearly yes, you do.
Yeah.
But maybe you don't.
For identification purposes.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I mean, I do like a tagline as well. A tagline will maybe make me pick it up, but I found that the cover is significantly less powerful. The title, sorry, is significantly less powerful. The cover is everything. The picture is everything. The tagline does help, but then it's the blurb.
Well, we do judge a book by its cover, don't we?
We
Sadly.
absolutely do.
And
you literally only get a
your
few seconds to capture somebody's attention, if that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your cover, Jack, I'm just looking at it now. The darkness. So you've got the darkness and you've got the clouds at the top.
Yeah.
And then Asu, to me, does sound fantastical. It does sound like a fantasy. So you have got for me, the elements. You've got the darkness, the conflict, and then you've got the Asu being something that isn't something necessarily that we know from day-to-day life.
No.
And I think it's intriguing.
We are all doing this the wrong way round. You should go on to one of these websites that sell you pre-made covers. You go down and you see a cover that really grabs your attention, buy that, and then write a book to the cover.
If
Well,
only
that doesn't work for me.
Andy, how did you come up with your title? Remind us what it is.
It's Beneath the Regime, Beyond the Fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I had absolutely no idea about the title. And I started off with Assad, My Part in His Downfall, which is a Spike Milligan sort of thing.
Right.
But
That's like Rommel Gunner-Who.
But it's not a funny book.
No.
And it sort of jarred, but I couldn't think of anything else. So it took quite a long time of evolution before we got the idea of Beneath the Regime, Beyond the Regime, Beyond the Fear. And it really is, we're looking at under culturally why Syria was like it was, how people behaved, this constant thing about walls have ears. And from an early age, children learn not to talk about anything.
Wow.
And Assad's father, Hafez Assad, was on all the little textbooks at school. And NASA said when he was a child, he just thought he was a god because he was revered more than Allah was.
Yeah.
So, we really have got a parallel universe in what Syria was like and how different it is from our experience and our culture. So it really was sort of what happens sort of underneath Assad's regime. And when you actually step outside that regime and you face up to prison, death, whatever, once you're on that route, there's no going back. You either have to run away to the opposition or escape the country. And the current regime has got two sides to it. It's those people who left their posts and went to fight for the Free Syrian Army, and those who left their posts and left the country. And it couldn't be just one person because of the retribution. So if a son decided to leave the army and they couldn't catch up with him, they would take somebody else from the family. So you can't just one or two people leave the country. Everybody from a group has to go from the country. It's I mean, I think through our eyes and our context, it's very difficult to understand really what life was like for Syrians under that regime, and how those three boys who put the graffiti on the wall down in Dera um, lifted the lid off a can of worms. And once they'd escaped, and Assad dealt with the country inappropriately, by killing citizens with impunity, there really was no going back. And he had the support of Russia, and he had the support of Iran and Hezbollah, which is a proxy of Iran. And, Syrians ended up in the middle of a proxy war. America was giving arms to two different factions and increasing the amount of people who could get killed. It was, for 13 years, the whole country absolutely fell apart. I mean, it's going to take generations to rebuild it.
Yeah. And have you got a title in mind for the next book? Because you're picking up where you left off, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking of From the Rubble, because
yes. Hence getting a picture of the rubble.
Yes. And his real house is still rubble. And he's gone back to a country that really needs rebuilding right from the base. And there's a conflict between those who ran and fought and those who ran to exile, because the ones who've gone into exile are bringing back expertise that they never had before. So, there really has to be a giant collaboration to make the whole thing work.
Yeah. And I think they're going to have so many countries on their side that whether they lived there or not, that it could.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's quite. I mean, from the start, it's actually very interesting what his first observations were. He steps into his home country and he's looking over his shoulder because that's what he last had to do.
Yeah.
And he finds people with lots of experiences from the war and how they coped with it and how they survived and their choices that they made.
Yeah.
So
wind this down, this session on covers. We'll go Andy, then David, then Ella, then Jack. Or no, let's go Andy, Ella, Jack, David.
David.
As a reader, well, then David has the last word. You see, that's my.
Oh yes, that will work well. Okay.
So we might then.
Hang on, I'm the only bloke, and I get the last word. That seems very misogynist. Carry on.
Okay. Because I know you can round it off nicely. No pressure. As a reader, Andy, when you're looking for a particular book, whether it's fiction or let's go with fiction if you read fiction, what would strike you as a cover for the genre you write? You read, I mean.
I write. Well, I've just finished Rory Stewart's The Rest is Politics, and I'm reading Engleby by Sebastian Faulks at the moment.
Okay.
And I've loaded Somerset Maugham on my Kindle, ready for my holiday. So I go through quite a wide variety.
Yeah.
What strikes? I don't know. I don't go for one particular cover. But I do think that the cover should resonate what's in the book. It's a real difficult one. I have such a wide variety of genres that I like to read. And as I said, I usually pick somebody and then I sort of read all their stuff.
Yes.
I don't know. I really feel there has to be a congruity between what's inside the book and what's on the cover. For me to appreciate it. So, and probably the cover's secondary and the blurb is primary in my choice.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Ella, as a reader, do you judge a book by its cover?
Definitely. I am not a fan of all the billionaire stuffs and the hunks on the covers, because to me that's somebody else's interpretation of what the character should look like. And I think that as readers, we should be allowed very much to form our own mental pictures for I mean, there are some people that don't get mental pictures when they read.
I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
I've got somebody just turning up. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Andy.
Andy. Nice to meet
Andy,
you.
nice to see you. So I mean, I've got nothing against guys like that, but they're all sort of muscly guys, and I'm thinking, well, they don't actually make up the majority of normal people. So I don't feel that those covers are representative, which is one reason initially why I avoided having people on the cover at all, and I've got to change that. But my tastes very much run more towards normal people, normal stories, not those that have got money hanging out of their pockets.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even with the historical romance, which is something that I've loved pretty much my entire life since I was about 12 or 13, like the Jean Plaidy, the Georgette Heyer stuff. So things in that genre now are very much, oh, well, there's this Flash Duke and he's got all the money, and I'm thinking, they don't represent the fact that they were a very, very small minority of the people in the country at the time. And to me, I find those sort of covers more off-putting. But I mean, that's me personally, because I want something that's more representative of the majority of people, not these things. But I understand it's popular, but it's more likely to make me say no, thank you. And so I go, so I'll look for something else that will appeal to me in terms of colours and the general feel of it, and then I'll read the blurb.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember who it was, but somebody, we were talking about author now. I can't remember the exact topic of the panel even, but one of the panelists said that having an initials for, say, J.K. Rowling put them off, because if they, was it you? I did wonder. I had you at the back of my mind that because it's we were talking, I think that it was useful for one of the panelists or that somebody they knew to have the initials because they wrote two genres or somewhere in between, or it meant, like with me, Morgen, I could be male or female. And so it's really handy. Although I use Rachel Kavanagh, I'm still debating whether to keep her because I write two opposite genres. So Jack, how about you as a reader? Do you?
I actually managed to disagree with both ladies,
Right?
both Andy and Ella, because first of all, yes, the bare-chested man does not represent reality, but it is an escape. And if I'm going to read something, I do want to be whisked away into a fantasy world, which is not necessarily a true world. So I read historical romance, and when I do, I appreciate, sorry, David, the bare-chested man on the cover.
Right.
I do have a bare chest underneath my clothes.
I'm sure it's similar to the bare-chested men that I appreciate as well. When it comes to thrillers, again, it isn't so important to me whether or not it matches the content of the book, but it should match the emotion that I'm left with.
Right.
So mine are, some people refer to mine as dark books, but I find them more of an adventure. They are not literature. They are something that you will just be whisked away in, enjoy for a few hours on a beach or in an airplane. And, you know, they're not something you would have in a book club. They're not something you would debate.
Yeah.
They're just a bit of fun. And that's why I go for the brighter colors.
Sure.
But I also agree with Andy in the sense that I will go for the author. Once I've read an author and I like that author, I really don't care what their cover looks like, what their title is. I care about the blurb. But really, I will then go for the author name. So yeah, for me, for the thrillers, it's more emotion. I want to feel the emotion that I'm going to get from reading the book. And from the historical romance, I want the bare-chested man.
Right.
I'll keep that in mind for my next project.
I'm sure you won't.
No, I will, because actually I do have a historical thing that's actually already tapping me on the shoulder before I've even finished the Tarot for Two series, which is set also in Littlehampton. So but the first half of it is set in London. So, but I shall keep that in mind, that there is that expectation, because that is very much more within one genre or one subgenre of romance. whereas these are very much in what I've started calling it a Venn diagram of the metaphysical side, the disability fiction because of Jamie's undiscovered neurodivergence, and the fact that it's a friends to lovers romance across the entire series. So it's like literally the intersection of all of those. So fitting it into one cover, can't think of the word.
Yes,
one expectation is much more difficult for me. But fortunately, the historical thing is going to be much easier. So I've just done the hard thing first. It's like, why did I do that to myself?
I also think it depends on what historical romance you're reading. So, for example, I never read The Ton. I never read debuts, balls, and princes and dukes and all of that. I cannot be bothered with these namby-pamby men who wear wigs. But for historical romance,
you, David, out then.
Oh goodness!
Yeah, sorry.
Get your coat.
For historical romance, I want a good Scottish Highlander. I want I find that the general tone of those books is that you've got the macho man, but typically he always falls to the woman. The woman in the end takes control and he is led by her. And I like that. And I find that more realistic to a certain extent to modern day as well. But I like the macho man, bless him, trying to take control.
Right.
And I like the strong woman who actually rules him by the end. And that's what I appreciate. So I am perfectly happy to have the macho man on the cover. But the historical romance I read is always Scottish Highland. It's only Scottish Highland.
I can't possibly comment on that.
No, you sound British, and I'm sure the reason for you holding back.
What do you read, David? Because you write such a wide variety.
Yeah.
I read a wide variety. Pretty much everything I read is recommended to me,
right?
Or I'm editing it. So the cover doesn't matter. I don't even know what the cover of the book I'm reading in the bedroom is because I've just been reading it. But I've got a couple of summary points to make. I think in that I've got a lot of very different covers, and I find when I'm on a table next to somebody who does thrillers, they're all the same thrillers, so people's eyes will skirt over it. Whereas when they come to my table, one of the covers is going to grab their eyes, grab their attention. So they start talking. So a cover's job is to get them to read the blurb. And a blurb's job is to get them to read the first page. And the first page job is to get them to read the rest of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do buy things on the cover. But I have a story which is possibly the one to end on.
Yeah, do.
I knew a writer who went to writers' workshops, and I went along to one or two of them, and they read their work out and then critiqued it. And he had a wonderful speaking voice, and what he was writing was brilliant. I was thoroughly looking forward to it. I got slightly fed up of having it in installments, with the occasional installment I would miss. I was really, really looking forward to buying his book, and he had it on sale. I was genuinely excited about it. Went along, and the cover was so awful, I didn't buy it.
Oh, right.
I just can't even look at that. So the next time he did a reading and was selling his book, I sidled into the room and I managed to buy his book without looking at it. And it was the only way I could do it.
Because also there's a big difference between, yes, you see the cover if you're reading on Kindle, so Tim reads on an iPad. So he will see the cover, obviously, and he has a set of his favourite authors, so Neil Asher and Mick Herron and so on. And so whenever they have an ebook out, he'll buy it regardless. But he likes trying new authors. But he looks at the cover. The cover, if it screams sci-fi, he'll look at it and then read the blurb. And if the blurb hooks him, he'll download the sample. And if he likes the sample, he'll then buy the book, as long as it's generally under a £5. So £5.99 at a push. But when some people charge almost as much as a paperback, then he probably won't, unless it's his favourite author. And his favourite authors tend to be more expensive because they're traditionally published, and they can get away with charging more. Yeah. But once it downloads on his iPad, when he clicks to open it, you don't see the cover.
No.
So he'll have only seen the cover when he's bought it in the first place. And he'll download so many, especially when we go to Spain, he'll download so many and he'll just work his way through them and maybe not even notice the cover again. Whereas obviously if you're reading a paperback, every time you close the book, you're seeing the cover.
Yeah.
So I think the format varies.
Yes, quite possibly. Although I do find I have a Kindle Scribe, and I find that the Kindle Scribe shows me what I'm allegedly reading at that time. Every time that's the cover that it puts on there, its home screen.
Yeah, it doesn't do that with a paperwhite.
I have another
Okay.
tale. I have another tale to tell.
Okay.
A group of New Street authors were involved with a local university's art department in their book cover design module. So we went along, 5 or 6 of us, pitched our books. They then chose a book they wanted to design a cover for, went away. We came back, I don't know, 3 months later or whatever, to judge the book covers. Well, just to make our comments. But we were genuinely going along going, if someone produces a book cover and I like it, I'm going to buy it off them.
Sure.
For heaven's sake, I am. And it was, I told this story at this book cover panel at EasterCon. And one of the lecturers from the department was in the audience. So this is why I'm not mentioning which university it is.
Okay.
But it was remarkable how the students didn't get book cover design.
Right.
It wasn't about their artistic ability particularly. It was just, there was so many book covers were shown to us. None of them I could have used.
Wow.
And
I think an art, isn't it?
Yeah. And only one of us.
See.
Only one of us had a match where one of the students had come up with something and they went, oh yeah, I'm having that.
Okay.
But we did it for a number of years. The 5 or 6 of us, God knows how many, 100 people in the course, maybe 50, I don't know. And it was amazing how they didn't get it. And I don't think authors either get what the job of the cover is.
No. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, David. See you again soon. And Ella, I shall get your page done today. So delighted to have you. I knew you could hold your own. I know when we've spoken before.
I know, that's the thing. Once I get started, I'm all right. But it's the initial nerves of God, what am I doing? But no,
no, it's absolutely fine. Well, I was going to leave you to last, so on the initial round. So I'm delighted you felt comfortable enough to jump in. Jack, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. This will go up on YouTube shortly. Takes about 10 minutes to download. And then so wewe'll see you again soon.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, Melissa.
Nice to meet you.
Melissa's back and says thank you.
Thanks
very much. Always lovely to have people in the chat. Thanks very much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're very welcome.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.